Hola! In our last video, we focused on nouns, articles, and adjectives and how they agree with each other in their masculine and feminine and singular and plural forms. Today, we're going to talk about writing complete sentences, and in order to do that, you need to make sure that you know how to conjugate regular verbs in the present tense. In order to help you do this, we're going to spend our time today reviewing subject pronouns and how we conjugate regular verbs in Spanish. The first thing you need to know are the basic parts of a sentence. The subject, or el sujeto, is a person, animal, or thing that does the action in a sentence. El verbo, or the verb, is the action itself. And el objeto, or the object, which is not where we're focusing right now, is the person, animal, or thing that receives the action of the sentence. For example, I do the homework. The homework is the object of that sentence because it's what's being done. However, remember that at this point in time, our focus is on el sujeto, or the subject, who or what does the action, and the verb, which is the action. We'll deal with the objects of sentences in more detail later on this year. First off, we need to deal with subject pronouns. What subject pronouns do is replace nouns that are the subject of a sentence. So in English, subject pronouns are words like I, you, he, she, we, or they, or you all. As we think about why we use subject pronouns, I'd like you to take a look at and listen to this brief story en inglés. Think about what's being maybe said a little too often and what we could do to change that. Then pause the video for a moment and write down why you think we use subject pronouns on the front page of your paper. Marta woke up at 6 o'clock. Then Marta got dressed, ate breakfast, and went to school. When Marta got to school, Marta got her books and went to her homeroom. Marta had 5 classes that day. After school, Marta went home and did homework. Think about what's being repeated, what we can do to maybe change that. Pause the video, write down your answer under why do we use them, and then move on to the next box. In the boxes that are below the 2 lines for why do we use them, you're going to write down both the English and Spanish for subject pronouns, or los pronombres de sujeto. This should serve as a helpful reference chart for you. I in Spanish is yo. You, informal in Spanish, is tú. And remember that tú is used to talk to someone you consider a friend or someone you know have met many times before. He in Spanish is él with an accent. She is ella. And usted in Spanish is the formal way of saying you, talking to someone you're meeting for the first time or someone who's in supposedly a position of authority. We in Spanish is nosotros or nosotras. There's one form of all of you, vosotros and vosotras, that's only used in Spain. They in Spanish is ellos, for a group of all males or a mixed group, and ellas is for a group of all girls only. And you all, used in many other countries that speak Spanish, is ustedes. The reason why these subject pronouns are in boxes is because these boxes match with the verb conjugation boxes in the charts that you're going to see momentarily. Make sure that you get the appropriate subject pronouns down and use this as a reference as needed as you start to conjugate verbs. Now, let's get on to how we conjugate los verbos regulares. Remember that all Spanish verbs end with AR, ER, or IR. And to conjugate regular AR verbs, you first need to get rid of the AR. In Spanish, we say that quita la AR. And then add the endings, añade las terminaciones. The endings for regular AR verbs in Spanish that need to be written in the box at the bottom of page 1 are o, as, a, amos, ais, an. O matches up with yo. As is the ending that matches up with tu. A is the ending that matches up with el, ea, or usted. Amos is the ending that matches up with nosotros. Ais is the ending that matches up with vosotros. And then an is the ending that matches up with ellos or ellas. When you're all set, pause the video and please answer questions 1 a 7 at the top of página 2. Write the translations of the subject pronouns with the verb conjugations that are correct, and I do expect to see the subject pronouns in front of the verb conjugations here. Once you're set, restart the video and move on to los verbos ER or ER verbs. Para los verbos ER, rules are similar. Get rid of the ER or quita la ER. Then you're going to add the endings o, es, e, amos, ace, and n. Once again, each ending matches up with a specific subject pronoun. O matches up with yo, es with tu, e with el, ea, usted, amos with nosotros, ace with vosotros, and n with ellos, ellas, and ustedes. Pause the video one more time, por favor, and write the translations with the subject pronoun in front of the verb conjugation. When you're done, unpause the video for the last time and move on to los verbos IR or IR verbs. You'll notice that endings for IR verbs are similar to endings for ER verbs. You need to get rid of the IR or quita la IR and then add the endings o, es, e, imos, is, and n. The only thing that's different between these endings and the ER endings are that the nosotros and vosotros forms begin with the letter I instead of the letter E. If you're someone who's really visual, it may help you to underline or highlight those two endings that are different in another color to help you remember that there's a difference from the ER verbs in the present tense. Stop the video and then check your conjugations. Complete the activity on página 3 with the appropriate subject pronoun and conjugation. Please call me over if you have questions. Buena suerte.